I'm excited. We're talking about the two sides of faith. And if you are a part of our reading plan, you are more than welcome to join with us as we're doing that. It is 7 weeks long, and we're getting ready for our last week. And if you go to collectiveomaha.com, you'll see a little banner there. You can click on that. You can jump in with us. You can find a friend and read that last week together, and then maybe start over on your own if you missed some of it. It's really easy. It's 5 days a week, and it's about 5 minutes worth of reading every day. And then you invest beyond that. I encourage you guys, the more you invest, the more you get out of it, right? God always pays back double, triple, tenfold, right? He is good. So, but this week we talked through Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 through 12. And what we're doing, this reading plan is going through the Sermon on the Mount. It's the most famous, the greatest message ever preached. Jesus preached it. It's mind-boggling. It's life-altering, and I don't want to make it anything less, right? I want for God to be able to move in full in my heart through this word and through his word. And so we've talked about what is a blessing, right? With the Beatitudes, we talked about being salt and light. We have talked about turning the other cheek. We've talked about silent spirituality. I'm not showing off what God's doing in me and how spiritual and religious I am, right? It's silent. My time with the Lord is silent. It's for me and him. And we talked last week about anxiety, right? Week before we talked about how to pray. And Jesus is just hitting on all these topics. I want to encourage you guys, if you go, man, that seems like quite a topic shift. Why in the world did Jesus move from talking about giving to anxiety? And maybe you'll discover that finances can bring a little bit of anxiety, right? And trusting God with things and going, all right, God, I give it to you. That can be kind of nerve-wracking, right? And then as we move on from that, it talks about God providing and giving, bringing first to him. And today we're talking about in that pursuit and making him first. He says this in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 through 12. He says, ask. Talking about prayer here, right? A couple weeks ago, we talked about this. This is in follow-up of the Lord's Prayer. He says, ask, and it will be given to you. It's that simple, right? Seek, and you'll find it. Knock, and the door will be opened. For everyone who asks, everyone who prays and goes to the Lord, God, will you? They will receive. And the one who seeks, they will find. And to the one who knocks, the door will be open. Which of you, if your son or daughter asks for bread, will give him or her a stone, right? Any parents in the room that have done that before? None? Good. All right, good. We got decent parents, all right? Or if he asks for a fish, we'll give him a snake. So if then you who are evil, this isn't just speaking about overall, it's speaking about we have a tendency to run away from God, right? We love the things that our heart is drawn towards or things that don't look like God, right? So if we who have that draw towards evil know how to give good gifts to our children, how much more will our good Father give to those who ask him? So last week we talked about how simple it is. Just if you're in anxiety, right? Just don't worry, right? This week, it's just so simple. Prayer and asking God for things is just ask and you get it. It's great, right? Yet there's a couple different things. I think there's important context that we got to look at in this. So as we look at ask and it'll be given to you, we got to look at a couple things. First of all, the key to this, the key to seeing this happen and going, yes, when I ask, I receive. When I seek, I do find. When I knock, I see that the door is opened. I see that. Every time when I go to the Lord, I see it, that I find the answer, that I get that the door is open, that God provides. It's incredible. How in the world do we get there? Really what this isn't just a conversation about prayer. We talked about that, right? This is a conversation about faith. This is a conversation about belief in God. This is a conversation about going to God with everything. And this is what faith is. Faith is described as one of my favorite descriptions of faith is the currency of heaven, right? Faith is that thing. If I want to make something happen here, right? What do I got to do? I got to pull out my pocketbook. I got to pull out my card. I got to go to the bank and get a loan. Right? If I want to make something happen, money, the currency of earth, right? It's money, and you got to use that. Now, faith is that currency of heaven. Faith makes things happen. Here's the Hebrews 11:1 describes faith as this. Hebrews 11 says, "Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things that aren't seen." God says, I want to see that you believe it. I want to see that you're standing on that. I want to see you operating in faith. I am sure of something that's not a reality yet. I am confident. I'm convicted on something that I can't see. Right? Faith. That's what faith is. The definition of faith, of the Greek word that's used here, it says is to believe to the extent of complete trust or obedience. Faith demands action. Faith is a thing that I go, listen, if I believe it, it changes the way I operate. If I have a complete trust, if I'm certain, I'm assured, right? If I'm convicted that on the other side of that door is something good, what am I going to do? I'm going to open it up and I'm going to walk right through it, right? If I'm not positive, it changes the way I act, right? I'm going to go to that door, I'm going to peek in, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? It changes the way that we operate. It changes what we do. Faith, coming with faith, moves things. In fact, there are two times in Scripture that it says Jesus, his jaw dropped. Isn't it crazy? It says Jesus marveled. Can you imagine that? Jesus, who literally, Scripture says, he was there at the creation of the universe. He was helping to form the stars and the galaxies and the things that, if you follow like James Webb Telescope, these galaxies that are seeing billions of light years away, he's there. He's forming it. He's with it. He's like, it's incredible. And he comes to earth and he goes, wow. 2 times. People were marveled at Jesus a lot, but 2 times it says Jesus marveled. The first time is when he talks to a centurion. And this centurion comes up and he says, a centurion is like an officer, almost a general, like this high-ranking dude in the military. And he comes up, he's a Roman, so he's not a Jew, right? And so a lot of the people then, extremely racist, they'd be like, hey, he's not one of God's people. Get him away from this Jesus guy, because Jesus is a good rabbi. We don't want to hear that guy talk, right? And so he walks up to Jesus and he says, Jesus, listen, I'm a man. I understand authority. I get it. I tell people to do something and they go do it. And I'm asking you, as a man of authority, my servant, he's sick. I love this servant. He's going to die. And I'm nervous. I understand that you're a man that has authority over the sickness, has the authority over the spiritual. You don't have to come to my house. Would you just speak so that he may be healed? Isn't that crazy? All these people coming in begging, saying, God, could you? And Jesus goes, wait, what? Could I? Right? This man doesn't come with that. He comes with incredible faith. And it says Jesus marveled at the centurion's faith. He goes, oh my goodness. And he turns to the crowds and he says, I haven't seen faith like this in any of you high-ranking Jews, right? Super spiritual Jews. I haven't seen that kind of faith in any of you. And so he marvels at it and he says, okay, your servant's healed. In that very hour, the servant was healed. He walks back and he goes, it happened. Isn't that crazy? Second time, Jesus marvels. Jesus is known as, they didn't do a whole lot of last names back then, right? And so Jesus is, which Jesus are you talking about? Jesus of Nazareth. Oh, the town of Nazareth. I know that Jesus. Okay, yeah, that one. So Jesus of Nazareth. Where's his hometown? It's in Nazareth. Where does he go when he goes to minister in Nazareth? It says the people go, that's just that carpenter boy. I know his dad. I've seen him grow up. My son got in an argument with him when they're in church school, right? And they like, I still don't really like him, like, whatever. And it says that Jesus was not able to do many miracles there, and he marveled at their lack of faith. The things that make Jesus marvel, the two times, the key is faith. Our faith can make his jaw drop. It depends on for what? Is our faith going to make his jaw drop because he's like, wow, that's incredible faith. I love that. I don't see that amongst many people. I love that. Or is he going to go, man, I can't believe they don't believe a thing. Right? And so this is the reality of praying with faith. In the reading plan, we talked about a couple different things, and there's three keys to praying with faith, and the first is don't doubt, right? When I pray with faith, the idea the disciples walk up to Jesus and say, could you give us more faith? We want more faith. Jesus always talks about, oh, you of little faith, give us more faith. And he says, I don't need you to have more faith. Right? He says in Mark 11:23, he says, truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will come to pass. It'll be done for him. He says, I don't need you to have more faith. I need this much. This much. Tiny little mustard seed. But it's got to be pure faith. I can't have you doubting. I don't need you to have more faith. I need, if you have faith for everything, it is like 80% full, 50% full. But it covers everything. I got a lot of it. It's just decent faith, but I've got a lot of it, right? He's like, that's not going to move anything. That's not going to do anything. I want pure faith. You don't need a lot. It just needs to be pure. So the first is when you pray, when you believe and you don't doubt, then he'll give it to you, right? And then we see, the key to this, when he talks about mountains, how many of y'all know a mountain? Here, he's not talking about literally a rocky structure. He's talking about the things in our life that we look at and we go, oh, dang, that's a beast. That's too big for me. I'm not ready for that. That's hard, right? And he says, look at it, call it out, cast it out. Okay? Believe and don't doubt. Second is when praying with faith. First, don't doubt. Second is submit to his will. Submit our wants to his will. Give it to God. Right? This is when Jesus goes, God, I want this. He's in the Garden of Gethsemane. He says, I want for this to pass. There's insane pain coming my way, and I don't like it. I hate it. I don't want it. But your will be done. I'm going to submit. I'm going to be fully submitted. And then the third is quality over quantity. The idea of pure faith, not more faith. It's not about having bigger, better. It's about going, hey, I want to see you believe with everything. And I want to see you be fully submitted. And this reveals the two sides, and this is the key part that we're talking about today. The two sides of faith. It's like a two-sided coin, right? When you see a coin, you look at one side, and man, you may love, my kids love to go over to the vending machines to throw in a quarter and then return my change, and they get a new quarter back, and they're like, look at the design on this one. That's so cool. I love it. Put it in, get it back. Oh, a new one, Delaware. I'm loving it, right? Like they're having so much fun because they're focusing on one side of it, right? I don't know. It's got the head. Like, I know that guy, but I want to see the other side, right? Well, oftentimes when we think of faith, we think of one of two sides of faith, and faith is the whole thing. There's a two-sided coin. The first side is the powerful belief. I believe with everything in me. It's the believe and do not doubt, right? The second side of faith is that other step. It's unshaken trust. When we think of, what does the word faithful mean, right? When we think of, if I'm going to be full of faith, faithful means steadfast, means confident, means unmoving, means unshaken. I am faithful. You can depend on me. I am ready. I am always available. That's what faithful means, right? And so if to be full of faith only means to believe crazy things, then we're actually kind of missing it. We're missing the other side. But if faith only means to step back and to say, God, just do your thing, that's it, we're also missing it. Because Jesus didn't marvel at the person who goes, I'll just wait and watch Jesus walk by. And if he wants to heal, he'll heal me. If he doesn't, he won't. Well, I didn't call out. I didn't say anything. I didn't get healed. I guess he didn't want to. Right? Faith moves things. Now, here's the problem. Here's the difficulty. Theology in life works so easy and it's so comfortable if we don't believe that God can still heal today, right? It's black and white. It's so easy. You walk up and you go, no, God doesn't do that. He doesn't do it. Don't pray for it. Don't ask for it. It's not in the realm of what he does. And when he used to do that, now he doesn't. So don't worry about it, okay? Just operate with what you've been given, right? That's a good, confident trust in God. That's an unshaken trust of going, I trust no matter what that he is good and I'm going to walk with it. It's a lot easier to stand on that than it is to go, Jesus, would you heal? Jesus, would you move? Jesus, for my marriage, for my kids, for my heart, for my mental illness, for my sickness, for my disability, would you do something? Because then what happens is we put that thing out there for God, and we've got to hold both sides of the coin at the same time. We've got to submit it and go, God, I believe. I know you can. I'm going to come with a faith that moves mountains. Amen? And I'm going to be confident and I'm going to trust you even if it doesn't happen. Whew. It's a lot easier to do one or the other. It's hard to operate in faith on both sides of that coin. And I know, I've experienced this. I believe, I know that God does miracles today because I've seen it. I've seen it. When we go to the doctor and the doctor says, your daughter, this issue that she's been dealing with since she was born, she's 7 months old at this time, and they say, hey, listen, this is a chronic thing. She's going to have it for the rest of her life. This last test just proved it, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to start operating on some of this other stuff. We're going to look at doing a procedure. We're going to look at whatever it may be, okay, other options. And we said, can we one more test next week, same time? Can we do that? Because I want to have our church pray over our daughter first. And there's nothing that changed that week. For 7 months, nothing changed. And then we pray. And then they go, wow, it's weird. The problems with your daughter are now actually not problems. They're actually twice as strong as the average human being. I don't know why. But you're good to go. See ya. Right? Man, that's exciting. But I also know that there's other prayers and people that have prayed and fought, and they didn't see that. And I go, man, I don't deserve it, God. I don't know why. But I'm grateful. I'm so grateful, right? And I'm not the only one. I want to share a couple stories because I believe that testimonies build faith, amen? So if we can have David and Lisa come up, they got a testimony that they're living in right now where they had to balance both sides of this two-sided coin of faith. If you guys can share a little bit, I'll grab your mic, David.
Yeah, I jotted down notes, but I'm just going to wing it, guys. So when I was 19, I was told that, I'm going to cry. Sorry, I've been just wrecked all day with God's goodness. You might have to talk. But when I was 19, I was told I wouldn't be able to have a baby. And dating, I told David that, like, hey, just so you know, like, before you go do anything crazy decisions, you should know that that's, like, a circumstance that I'm facing. And I have faith, God's going to do it, but just so you know, this is the medical reality that you'd be walking into. And David asked me to marry him, and here we are today. And we started trying to have a baby shortly after we got married, knowing that it might be an issue. And we tried for 2.5 years-ish, but 2.5 years of, it stinks because, like, that's a long time, but also I know people who have been in that journey a lot longer. And so it's this tension of, it was really hard, but we spent 2.5 years learning exactly what Pastor was talking about, the balance of, God, I know you are faithful, and I know you are true to who you say you are. I was just reminded of the scripture in Numbers that says, he is not a man that he should lie, and he is faithful to who he says he is. And I know that's who you are, God, but also we trust and we surrender our circumstances and what our family looks like, no matter what the outcome, like, no matter what the result is. And I just have been thinking of so many stories of, like, the journey. And I remember, I'm going to call Billy out. There was one day where we were here, and I was just telling her, like, I think I've just, like, come to terms with the fact that this isn't our story, like, that we're not going to have a baby naturally, and that's okay. Like, our family will look different. And she just looked at me, and she's like, it sounds like you're just having an excuse for lack of faith. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, so just, like, things like that. And I remember another story, like, I was picking my niece and nephews up from school, and I remember, I think he was probably 11 at the time, but my nephew just looked at me out of the blue and goes, Ia, that's what they call me. He's like, Ia, I just don't understand why God's not giving you a baby. And I remember in that moment hearing the Holy Spirit say to me, this is your time to see if you actually trust me. Do you believe the words that are coming out of your mouth when you explained it in him, the circumstances? When you're telling this 11 and 9-year-old why this circumstances, you're in this, do you actually believe what you're saying? That I am good, and that I'm faithful, and that I am true to what I say I am? There's just I remember another time where, sorry, I'll let you talk eventually, but it was a hard day. At that point, we were trying, medical, what's the word I'm looking for? Interference? Treatments? Thank you, intervention? Interference, no. But we had been trying treatments and things, and it was just a hard day. We got bad news, and it was just one thing after another. David got the wrong pizza, and it was all this thing. I know, and I just remember going in, and when I am stressed, I take a bath, and so I just remember coming home and just being like, I'm just going to get in the bath, and I couldn't even get in because I just sat there and I just cried out to the Lord because I'm like, God, I've seen you do this for other people. I have seen you heal, and I have seen you do the miraculous. Why? Why are we still in this? But God, I choose to trust you. I choose to put all of my faith in you no matter what. And granted, it took me about an hour and a half to get to that end point. It wasn't, God, I'm mad, but I trust you. It was tears, and it is anger sometimes, and it is frustration, but it is saying, God, I choose to surrender. I choose to put our circumstances, the outcome, I put it in your hands, and I have faith that you can do this, no matter if I can see the situation, the outcome, the positive, the baby. We didn't know this day would come. We didn't know that we would be standing here due with our firstborn son in a couple weeks. We did not know this day would come, but we chose to put all our faith and trust in God and who he is. And he is not a man that he should lie. He is faithful to who he is. He is always good, even if the circumstances don't look like what we want them to. And that's something I learned. I learned that faith is not, okay, this is what I want, God, so I'm going to expect to see it. It's faith of, God, I trust you. I don't trust what I want. I don't trust my heart. I trust you and what you want. Anyway.
That's good. I don't feel like I really need to say much more. That was good. Come on. One thing I do want to say is at the beginning of this journey, right at the start, we sat down and Lisa was like, I want you to write down a prayer. I want you to write down a prayer that we're going to pray over every night. And so I sit down and I write this prayer out. And if there's two sides of the coin, I am in this side right here, unshaken trust. I am not typically in this side. And so I'm writing down a prayer, and I'm like, man, this is the best prayer. We're going to pray it every night. And I show it to Lisa, and the prayer goes something like this. Lord, this is our situation. Have your way. And that's it. That was the prayer. And I thought, man, that is the perfect prayer. But in nowhere in that prayer did I actually ask with faith, give us a baby. Because that means I got to put my heart on the line. True faith means your heart is on the line. It's scary. If you're having faith about something and it's easy, I'm going to tell you, you don't have faith about it. You really don't. Because if I go and I say, Lord, give us a baby, and it doesn't make sense in my mind, that means I got to trust God's heart, right? And so Lisa, I show it to Lisa, and she's like, babe, this ain't going to work. We're not going to go pray this every night. So she helped me create that prayer. But
It was lame, you guys.
It was lame. And so it was scary. But one thing I want to say is if you are believing for something, don't do it alone. Because I didn't have enough faith on my own, and Lisa didn't have enough faith on her own. But together, when we would come together and pray, we were two sides of a coin. And so if you're going through something right now, maybe a similar situation where you want to have a baby and you can't, or whatever it is, don't do it alone. Don't try to muster up your own faith. This is why we have community.
Absolutely. And I would even just echo that, like the few examples I used, Billy calling me out so many times, Pastor Drew Morgan, we had so many people encouraging us, praying for us that, I mean, there's something about it when you know in your heart that God's going to answer a prayer no matter what it looks like, to be able to go to those people who have been praying and saying, look what God did, you guys. And I mean, that was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life, telling people that we have a miracle. And
and just the end of the story, it actually was a miracle. We did medication, it didn't work. The medication, it's not like we took the medication and it finally worked. It didn't work. We spent a few months off because it was really hard emotionally. And on those few months off, nothing changed in her body except that she just got pregnant out of nowhere. Like literally out of nowhere. Her body medically was not ready, if you know what I mean. It was not ready. She didn't, TMI, but she didn't have a period, which you need that to be pregnant. She didn't have one, didn't matter. We still got pregnant. And that's why even today we say it was a miracle. It definitely was. I want to encourage you, if you had a miracle in the past, don't forget that it was a miracle, because the devil's going to be putting thoughts in your mind and say, well, it probably was like this. It was probably like this. You probably got lucky. But stand upon the miracles of the past and let that move to today and drive you to faith for the future. So that's it.
so much so that when we went to the doctor for our first appointment, who'd been walking with us for a while, she goes, how? Like, how? What are we, like, how are we here? And she's a believer too, and we all were just like, God. Like, this is just God.
Yeah.
So let that encourage you today.
Amen. Amen. Come on. Man, it is, if we can stand up real quick, what I want to do is, I believe that there is power that comes when we give it to God. And I love what David said there. It's not faith if we're not bearing our heart, right? If we're not in a place where it could really hurt, where we're really vulnerable. That's faith. Because I'm going to trust that God's goodness extends beyond my situation. And I'm going to trust that his ability can do what I cannot. And that is so scary. But at the same time, Jesus says, you have not because you ask not. There are some things that are ready, that are waiting. He says, come on, come to me with faith. Steady faith. Not faith that prays one time and says, God, will we be pregnant next month? Nope, we're not. All right. That's it. That's it, right? It's faithful, confidence, belief, powerful belief, paired with unshaken trust. And guys, it's a lot easier to say it than it is to stand in it. Guys, it is so scary. It is so scary to come to that place. I remember the time with my daughter, And I've seen, guys, I've seen it. I've seen God do insane things, right? I've seen miracles. Lisa was talking with me about some of the miracles and the things that she's seen, about people that lifelong in a wheelchair standing up and getting out. What? How is that possible, right? We've seen things here at Collective. We've seen pain gone, seizures stopped, marriages restored. We've seen amazing things. And then there's other areas where we're still hoping and praying. Come on, God, please. Come on, God, please. And I remember the time in the NICU when Araya, our youngest daughter, when things just weren't turning around, everything was trying and nothing was happening. And I held her up. She was born at 3 pounds, just over 3 pounds, and I held her up. She was probably 4 pounds something at this point. And I hold this little girl up and I go, God, I need you to intervene. And I know that she's not going to get better in my hands. I'm not going to heal her. I know that the doctors are pretty limited in this right now. She's not going to get better in their hands. So I put her in your hands. If that means you take her, I give her to you. But God, I beg, would you heal her? God, I beg, would you heal her? And to hold both of that and fully embrace it and go, this may be the hardest prayer I've ever prayed. But I've also never meant something more in my life, right? And that's what I want to encourage us to do. And I want to encourage us, I got a prayer for us to pray. And that just kind of summarizes this up. It's God, give me the faith to move the mountains that are in front of me. And give me the faith to endure the valleys. To walk through and go, no, I'm going to stand confident in God the whole time. I'm not going to let my situation tell me whether he's good or not. I know he's good. I've seen him be good before, and I'm going to find his goodness in this one right here. I'm going to find his goodness in this situation right here. So if you got something that you got to put out to God and go, God, like I held up Araya, right? Then you got to go, God, I don't know what you're going to do, and it scares the living daylights out of me, but I give it to you, and I trust you, and I beg you, would you move? God, give me the faith to move the mountain in front of me, and give me the faith to endure the valley in the process. If that's you, if you got something, would you just come on up, and we're going to take a step of faith right up here, and we're going to pray together, and I'm going to ask for people to come around in just a second, but come on up. I see you coming. Come on. If you got something, you go, I got to put this before God, and I got to trust him because it's bigger than me. Come on up. Come on up. And we're going to go to God, and this is us putting it out there, holding it out to the Lord. And this is us going, God, I need you to intervene because it's out of my control. It's out of my control. Come on.